So in this video, we're just going to be going through the best of Clorinde's teams and teammates options. We're just going to look into some of her best teams and maybe like replacements in these teams and stuff like that for Clorinde. Yes, Clorinde. Oh, also, what is that? I'm pretty sure that's kind of the right way to pronounce it, no? Because it's in French, it's Clorinde. And then I'm not going to say like Clorinde every time. So it's just Clorinde. So like Clorinde is closer to Clorinde than Clorinde. I do not want to do the French accent every time, brother. I don't know why. It's just different accent. Relax, okay? But yeah, either way, let's continue. But before we do that though, if you want to pull for Clorinde and some of her best teammates, you're gonna need a lot of Primogems. That means you're also gonna need a lot of Genesis crystals. And the cheapest way to get them is gonna be throughout Lootbar GG. Lootbar is gonna be a very safe and secure top-up website where you can buy different games currencies such as Genshin Impact's Genesis crystals. They offer very good prices compared to the official stores. All you need to go is go to the website from the link in the description or the pinned comment. It's gonna take you to the Genshin Impact's page. You're gonna pick an offer. For example, I'm gonna buy this offer right now. In the official store, that's gonna cost me around $50, but on Lootbar, it's gonna cost me around $42. And even less if you have coupon codes, which you're gonna get a bunch of when you first register to the website. So yeah, I'm just gonna pick this offer right here. You're gonna fill in your user ID and the server region you play in. Obviously, double check to make sure these are right. And then you're just gonna click on top up now. You choose a payment method and then you pay. After you pay, you're just gonna find the Genesis crystals on your account within like 3 minutes. You don't have to do anything. You just open up the game and the Genesis crystals are gonna be there. That's it. These are some reviews from people who already use Lootbar. And also, if anything, if you face any problems or something like that, they have a 24/7 chat that you can just contact and they're gonna help you make sure everything goes smoothly. Make sure you use the link in the description or the pinned comment to buy cheap Genesis crystals from Lootbar. Alright, so starting off with the first and best team in general, that's like your go-to team if you can. It's just gonna be a simple Aggravate team. She's gonna be a very good Electro DPS, and she's gonna be dealing decent damage of her own, and she's also gonna be a very good Electro enabler. She's gonna be applying a lot of Electro, so you'd want to take advantage out of that by using another Dendro on the team, and he's gonna be aggravating a lot of times. So yeah, an Aggravate team, your first character is obviously gonna be Clorinde herself, and then you'd want to use Fischl. Fischl is actually gonna be one of her best teammates, especially at higher constellations like C6 for example, but even at C0 she's gonna be pretty good. I mean, she's not gonna hurt for sure, she's just gonna be there dealing extra damage, and she's also gonna be helping you out with energy by a lot. Also, Clorinde is gonna be able to trigger her A4 passive a lot of times, so that's gonna be super good. She's gonna be dealing a lot of damage with Clorinde, especially at C6. It's gonna be like ridiculous amounts of damage. So yeah, you definitely want to pair Fischl with Clorinde. They're gonna be a very good pair. But yeah, for an Aggravate team, obviously you're gonna need a Dendro on your team. The best option for that is gonna be the obvious one, Nahida. She's gonna work pretty well, especially with the double Electro and stuff like that. Nahida is definitely gonna be your best Dendro option. She's also gonna be buffing the Elemental Mastery, stuff like that. It's just Nahida things. So if you have Nahida, you definitely want to use her in this team. But you have other options like Beiju, for example. Any Dendro can work, really. At least any Dendro that can apply Dendro off field, at least at some point, they can work. So yeah, you have Beiju, for example. Yao Yao might work too, especially as a healer too. I mean, you don't really need a healer with Clorinde specifically because she can self-heal, but a healer in general can be good in the team. So yeah, Yao Yao is gonna be a very good option too. Kirara is also gonna be very good. So yeah, you have a lot of Dendro options. Obviously your go-to is gonna be Nahida, but if you don't really have her or you don't want to use her in this team, then you have a lot of options. Pretty much any off-field Dendro applicator, even to some extent, can work. And then finally, you just want a Nemo for the Verdescent. That's always gonna be pretty good. Kazuha is gonna be your obvious option. It's gonna be giving you a lot of damage bonus, which Clorinde is gonna appreciate a lot. So it's gonna be a very good option, or you can go for like Sucrose for the Elemental Mastery. But yeah, ultimately every Nemo can offer something. Kazuha or Sucrose are gonna be the best, but any Nemo with the Verdescent can work. So yeah, that's just gonna be the core of the team really. All of these are gonna be able to buffer like Kazuha and Nahida, and they're just gonna throw in Fischl's skill in the air, and they're just gonna go back to Clorinde and do your thing and keep attacking and stuff like that. So yeah, that's gonna be a very good team. A lot of Aggravates are gonna be happening, and that's gonna deal a lot of damage. Your second type of teams is gonna be an Overload team, and that's probably the next best in my opinion. It's also pretty good, but it's just a little more restricted, and because of the Overload knockback, I don't really like it as much. You're gonna be knocked back, enemies are gonna be knocked back, so it's gonna be a little, annoying. But either way, it's still gonna work. So for this team, you're just gonna need Clorinde, obviously, and then Chevreuse. Chevreuse is just like necessary in any Overload team. If you have her C6, that's gonna be much better, but even at C0, she's gonna be very good. So you definitely want to include her in this team. She's gonna be helping you out with the Pyro and Electro resistance, which is a huge value. value, and also some attack increases. So yeah, definitely want to include Chevreuse. Now with Chevreuse on the team, you're limited to either Electros or Pyros on your team. So you definitely want another either 2 Pyros, 2 Electros, or 1 Pyro, 1 Electro. I'd recommend like a Pyro enabler who can deal Pyro off field, obviously, because Clorinde needs to be on field. So you'd want someone like Toma, for example, is going to be perfect for that. Or just Strong Ling if you're not using her in any other team. Then you can just slap her in this team and she's going to be an enough Pyro enabler too. She's also going to be dealing her own damage, which is always pretty good. For the second slot, really, you can use any either Electro or Pyro again. So you can use like Bennett as a buffer. You can use Fischl again for the energy I listed before. You can use someone like Kuki, for example, as a healer. There are a lot of options. It's kind of a flex. As long as they're Pyro or Electro, it's gonna work. And they can do something off field. So yeah, this team is gonna be the same thing. You're just gonna be attacking on field with Clorinde. Chevreuse is just gonna be there providing the buffs. And your Pyro off field enabler is just gonna be applying Pyro. You'll be applying Electro with your Clorinde. And you're gonna be causing a lot of overloads, which is super good. So yeah, very good team too. Again, I hate it just because the knockback to the enemies. It's gonna be a little bit annoying sometimes, especially with like small enemies and stuff like that. But it works, especially with Clorinde. She's gonna be attacking a little bit from far away, so it might not be like a full problem. Another type of team which is less ideal for sure, but it's always going to be possible with any like Electro main DPS or any main DPS of any element, to be honest, almost. It's just going to be a mono team, like a mono Electro team with Clorinde, obviously. So you just want to use her with other Electros and then an Emo with the Verdescent. That's it. So you can just slap in like Clorinde, Fischl just for the synergy, obviously, and then another Electro like Sara, for example. She's going to work pretty well, or Beidou, or whatever, Kuki for as a healer, anyone like that. And then finally you can use again an Anemo for the Verdescent. The best one in this case is definitely going to be Kazuha. Sucro's elemental mastery is not really going to matter as much here, but if you don't have Kazuha, then any Anemo, the Verdescent, is going to work. But Kazuha is going to be pretty well just for the damage bonus that he's going to get for Clorinde. That team is going to be very good too, and it's a very simple and much comfortable to play team. So yeah, I like it too. The final type of viable team, in my opinion, is going to be an Electro charge team. That's almost like a mono Electro, but you just want to include a Hydro enabler on your team. So you just want to have Clorinde and then like Beidou or Fischl, and then you want to include a Hydro enabler, obviously off field. Any character who can apply Hydro on field is going to work pretty well. So you can have something like Yellen, for example. You can have Xingqiu. Fiorina is going to work if you want to put her in a Fiorina team. Kokomi is going to work as a healer and off-field Hydro enabler too. All of these are going to work. Any character who can apply Hydro on field can work in this team. And then obviously again, you'd want the Anemo with the Verdescent. Kazuha or Sucrose are going to work both in this team too. Clorinde is going to be your main DPS and driver on the team, and also your Electro enabler. You're just going to be auto-attacking with her on the field. You'd want to buff her with your Anemo. Do your thing with the second Electro DPS. If it's Beidou, she's going to give you a shield. If it's Fischl, just throw in her skill, whatever. And then the Hydro enabler is just going to be applying Hydro off field, and you're going to be causing a lot of tases, which is pretty good. So yeah, that's another very good team to use with Clorinde. Those are mainly her main types of teams, at least like team types in general. I mean, she can definitely work in many other types of teams where it's not like fully fitted, like a hyper carry team, for example, or stuff like that, or you just only care about her damage. That's going to be possible, but team wise, for like team wide damage, I think those are really the only 4 types of teams that you'd want to use her in. And I heavily recommend just using her in like an Aggravate team, just her another Electro, a Dendro, and then like a buffer, and everything's going to be very good. I think that type of team is just very simple and easy to play, and it's going to give you a lot of extra damage, or it's going to work better than any other team. Overloaded teams are also pretty good. I just don't like them because of the knockback, but they're also going to be very good too. So if you want to use her in Overloaded and you have Chevreuse and the other characters, then yeah, you can go for it. Taser teams and the Mono Electro are going to be viable too, but they're definitely not recommended. Other than that, I don't really see any other viable team options. If you have any, then let me know in the comments. At least like fully optimized, you know, meta teams. But yeah, just let me know if you have any other ideas. Tell me what teams are you gonna use her in. Even if they're not meta or anything, just tell me where do you want to use her. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. See you guys in the next video. Peace.